Welcome, everyone, to our Parent to Parent YouTube Live event. We're so glad you could join us as we discuss the real experience of NMMI parents and their cadets. I am Christina Stark, the Global Enrollment and Marketing Director at NMMI, and I will be the moderator tonight. Choosing a school is a big decision, and we know that sending our child to a military boarding school comes with many questions. That's why we've invited current NMMI parents to share their perspective, answer your questions, and provide insight into what the journey at NMMI looks like, both for cadets and their families. Whether you're wondering about the transition, academic life, leadership development on campus environment, our goal tonight is to give you an open and honest look at what it's like to be part of the NMMI family. I would like to remind you that on April 12th, we'll have an open house here on Post, so register for the event. Go to admissions on our website, www.nmmi.edu, click on admissions, events, and click on the calendar. We'll be happy to see you on Post. So tonight, we want you to ask questions and learn more about the programs at NMMI. Post any questions you have directly in the YouTube chat or on social media using hashtag AskNMMI or snap us at NMMI Life. So let's get started with introductions from our panel of parents. As you know, technology is wonderful, but sometimes it doesn't work as we wish it would. So we might have some parents coming in and joining us as we start our YouTube Live. So tonight, I would like to introduce to you Crystal and Jacob Graham. Let's start with Crystal. So Crystal, we cannot hear you.
Hi, I'm Crystal. I am Chaplain Graham's wife. I'm also the parent of a sophomore at New Mexico Military Institute. I am also a local teacher here in town, and I'm happy to be here to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. Jacob?
Good evening. My name is Jacob Graham. I am the chaplain and one of the life coaches here at New Mexico Military Institute. As Crystal said, I am the father of a high school sophomore, and I'm so glad I get to represent both as a parent and as an employee here at New Mexico Military Institute.
Thank you very much. And now we have Ms. Patricia. Could you introduce yourself to us, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patricia Dias, and I'm Brazilian. And I am the mother of Cadet Lucas Dias, who has been studying at NMI since 2024. I'm so glad to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let me start by asking Crystal, what initially led you to consider NMMI for your cadets?
Well, actually, my parents live here. My husband and I are both natives to Roswell, and we used to, when we moved to Oklahoma, we would come back to visit my parents. And every time we would come, we would drive past the Institute. And our son, every time we would come, he'd say, "Mom, Dad, I'm going to go to that school one day." So we had no idea that we were going to actually end up moving back to Roswell. And so when we did move back, of course, that was always in the back of our mind because it was something he said every time we visited. And finally, when the time came for him to go to high school, we started to consider New Mexico Military Institute. And after a series of months, we, talked about it and decided that it was the best fit for him. Academically, there is nothing that compares to Nmmi in Roswell. And so that really helped us to make our decision as well.
Thank you so much, Crystal. Mm-hmm. I believe we have with us Miss Bertha, who's also a parent. So,
Hi.
so much for joining us, Bertha.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. My name is Bertha Gomez. I am a counselor for the high school. I also have two children here. I have a junior female cadet, and then I have a sophomore male cadet, and they're both loving it here.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the general experience at NMMI. So Jacob, why don't you tell us what was the transition like for your cadet when he first arrived at NMMI?
The transition was a challenge at first. Looking at it in two aspects, he was a 4.0 student at a local middle school here in Roswell. And so when he came to Nmmi, one of the reasons why he came, and to us, it was important that he wanted to go to Nmmi. And so when we asked him, why would you like to go? He wanted to grow in self-discipline. He wanted to grow in leadership. He wanted to grow in self-agency. And so we thought it would be a good fit for him. So as far as the discipline and the military bearing was no problem for him. He really enjoyed it. And from day one, he enjoyed squaring the corners and the saluting and that type of it. But what was the biggest challenge was the classroom. And so we always said that he has an A+ brain, but he coming into Nmmi maybe a C+ effort. And so when he his very first semester here, it was a challenge. We were not sure if he was going to make it due to his grades. I think he ended up the first semester with a 2.5. And so we said, buddy, if you want to continue going here, you're going to have to lock in. You're going to have to manage your time well. You're going to have to go to bed on time. And so that was his biggest challenge, as with most cadets, is the time management and the sleep aspect. After his second semester, he had a 3.0. Third semester, something to a 3.5, and we just got midterm grades today, and he's all A's except for one B+. And so seeing him grow and learn and transform to his fullest capacity has been a joy. It's been such a unique experience. We have cadets from over 40 different states and 30 different nations. And so the diversity on campus is like you get to experience the entire world while being here. Last semester, his roommate was from Brazil. This year, his roommate is from Mexico. So just seeing him grow as a human, seeing him grow in his leadership, the transition was rocky at sometimes, but rewarding.
Wow, congratulations on
Thank you.
Going from 2.5 all the way up. Wow,
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. Congratulations. So, Crystal, you as a mother would, I'm sure, that always checked on him, in the evening, saying good night and all this. How was the adjustment for you and for him, knowing that he was at a boarding school?
I think for myself, it was harder than it was for him. He was excited to be there. He was excited to experience something new. They were always busy. There's definitely never a lot of downtime at Nmmi. And so he had plenty to do. I think it was really probably harder on me than it was on him. One of the things that we have tried to do is, text each other and make sure that we call at night and, just to kind of keep those lines of communication open. Just even if it's sending, good morning, son, I love you. He always responds back. And so it's been tough for me because he's my baby. But I think it's been really good for him. I think that he's really grown and he's really been able to have more autonomy over his self and his own choices and his, responsibilities that he might not have gotten to have if he was still at home with us.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, Patricia, tell us, how did your family prepare for the transition to NMMI? And what advice would you give to new parents considering this path? And just thinking that Lucas left Brazil and came to New Mexico Military Institute.
Yes, Cristina, we did a lot of research before Lucas will go to New Mexico Military Institute, and we did a lot of research, learning about its roles and departments, and had many conversations with our son about what to expect. And then my advice to parents considering this path is support your cadet's decision and help him or her understand that following rules is part of the process. But at the same time, don't worry, because even though they are far from home, they will never be alone at Nmmi.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, Bertha, why don't you tell us? You have 2 cadets here at Nmmi. So, what was the biggest challenge your cadet faced in the first few months? And how did he overcame and how did she overcome? So, I would appreciate if you'd share both because I'm sure their experience were different. So, if you could share a little bit about both, I would appreciate.
Okay. Yeah. So my daughter, I would say her biggest challenge was being away from everybody because we're very family oriented. So this was the first time she was ever really away, even though she wasn't that far away. It was not being able to see us every day. That was the hardest thing for her. As far as the academics, she always did really well. She had a 4.0 freshman year. Sophomore year, things got a little bit harder. She was enrolled in the scholars program. She started doing dual track. She does sports. So that kind of helped her adjust. It did bring she's at a 3.8 right now, but she's still doing really well. She's made really good friends, some from Roswell, her best friends from Alaska. So she's kind of learned outside of her comfort zone. But her adjustment was actually a little bit easier just because she did well and the sports helped her. My son's biggest challenge, I would say, is time management. Like most boys, they seem to think that, they will have time for the homework and that can always be done later until first semester grades come out and then they're trying to be eligible. Then they try to kind of work harder. He's still working through the time management issue. He's gotten better, kind of like Chaplain Graham said, first semester is always the hardest, but he's improved. He went from 2.0 to 2.9 now. So that's been really good for us. He also started participating in more than just football. He started joining clubs and he started going to tutoring. So that's kind of helped him a lot with the time management.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. So, Patricia, what about you? What about Lucas, your cadet? What was the biggest challenge for him when he first came?
The biggest challenge was the weather. Where we live, winter is dry and not too cold, and summer is hot but rainy. The change was a shock for him at first, but over time his body adjusted. Now he almost feels like a local. He's happy and very well.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Now, Jacob, why don't you share with us about how does Nmmi help cadets who may experience homesickness or struggle with adapting to structure and discipline? I know you are constantly with the cadets. Mm-hmm. So, and we all appreciate that very much. So share with us a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. So I would say there's 2 separate issues here. The homesickness is to be expected when they're used to either on the high school level or even on the junior college level. They're still 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And so they've grown up with their mom and dad, maybe their grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. And so whether they're from Roswell, now they're living in an isolated place, they're from New Mexico, from United States or throughout the world, it's an adjustment going from your home base to a new place. And so part of the things that will help them overcome homesickness is to join clubs, to mix in. And there's over 40 different clubs that they can get in. The academic advisors are excellent with making sure that the cadets are participating in different things. I work with the counseling team, so the counselors, myself as a chaplain, the other life coaches, we're going to help with their homesickness and help them remember why they're here and what their goals are. And that kind of goes into the discipline side and the military structure. And truly, the cadets that want to be here, they're most likely going to be successful. Whatever the case is, some of them are sent here by their parents. Some of them are here because they are interested in a military career or one of the service academy preps or for sports or whatever the case is. When they do come here, sometimes there's some kickback. They don't want to wear the uniform properly. They don't want to use the grooming standards of the haircut and whatnot. And so typically that first semester, they have a tough time doing what they're supposed to do. And so part of what the academic advisors do, what the counselors do, and really what everyone on campus does, we remind them, why are you here? What are the things that you value? What are the things that you're working for? And so when we put that in front of them, they say, yeah, I want to make my family proud. I want to get a good job when I graduate. I want to make the baseball team. So when we remind them of their values, the things that are important in their goals, it helps them to realize, okay, if I am faithful with these little things, I'm going to be given more opportunity to do greater things. And I always tell them, be faithful with the small and you'll be made ruler of much. And so I teach them excellence in the small things. And for example, a lot of them don't like to square their corners. And I say, well, if you can square your corners properly and you can do those little things right, whenever the time rises and you have bigger challenges and bigger obstacles, you're going to have the self-discipline and the self-command to overcome that. So again, it comes down to values, it comes down to goals, and it comes down really to have the self-agency to overcome the obstacles that they'll face here at Nmmi.
Yes, thank you very much. So Crystal, as a parent that's not on post, tell us, how does Nmmi keep parents informed and involved while they're cadets, while your son is here at the school?
Thank you. Well, actually, there are a lot of different ways that Nmmi keeps us informed. Each week we get reports on Liam's academic progress, including his grades, as well as we receive notes that let us know if there have been any behavioral concerns. We also get to know if he's checked into tutoring. You will have comments from the instructors if there was anything that they needed to communicate. In addition to those weekly reports, his academic advisor, who happens to be on the call here today, keeps us informed. She regularly emails us any events that are going on or anything that is important dates that are coming up that we need to know about. Nmmi is constantly sending out communication. And I know I work in the public schools and we don't get weekly reports for public school students. So I really appreciate that as a parent, especially because he is away from us. There's also a parent club that provides opportunities for local parents to help connect with and support parents of current cadets. It gives them an opportunity to share their experiences, to have their questions answered, and it just helps to foster a sense of community between parents. There's also a Facebook group that you can find if you're a parent, where parents are able to communicate with and support one another, as well as to answer each other's questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Patricia, you're in Brazil. So what would you say to parents who are worried about being far from their child while they attend Nmmi? What is your advice for those parents?
I'd say a ship is built to sail beyond the harbor. If you want your child to have a great education, grow as a person, and build a bright future, trust the process. And MMI provides an incredible experience that will help them succeed.
Thank you very much. So, Bertha, what kind of support system is available for parents, and how can families stay connected?
The support system I would say available for parents is the Parents Club. The Facebook, like Crystal mentioned, the parents, Nmmi Parents Facebook Club, they're always connecting with one another. If they have a concern, one of the parents will reach out, especially the local parents. So it's a really good support system. And then also, within that support, the Nmmi Parents Club, they also provide assistance as far like if you're from out of town and you need to get transportation for your son to the doctor or something like that. The most of the local parents will drive the kids there. You know, they help one another. I would say the Nmmi Parents Club is the biggest support system for parents, just because they all have students here and they, you know, can relate to some of the situations they're going through. The other support system would be the faculty and staff at NMMI. If a parent ever needs anything or is concerned about anything, if you reach out to the staff or the faculty, they will turn around and, you know, help you. They'll set up conference calls, whatever it is that you need. Just like a few minutes ago, I was talking to a parent that had some concerns. We walked through her concerns. So, you know, there's just a lot of support system here. The counselors, Chaplain Graham, all of the staff and faculty at NMMI are really good resources and supports for parents as well.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
So we hear from a lot of parents, once their cadet is here and they go home for a break, how much the cadet has changed. So I would like to ask Crystal, how has your relationship with your cadet changed since he started attending an MMI? What are the changes you see in him when he comes home? We cannot hear you. You're muted.
Hi, thank you. Well, I would say that we definitely see a change in Liam in the way that he interacts with us. He has grown and he has matured. He is definitely much more capable now of taking care of things for himself. As far as like our personal relationship goes, I think our relationship is good, and we have, you know, we really work to keep in contact with each other. But there's been a huge difference from the time that he first walked onto campus as a freshman to what we see now in his abilities. Like Chaplain Grant said, my husband, he talked about how Liam has been able to work his way from a 2.5 up to where he's at now. And, you know, we very much want him to take responsibility for his own education and for the choices that he makes, and all of the tutoring that he's gone to and the night study hall that he's gone to. Those were not at our command. Those were all on his own because he decided he wanted to bring his grades up. And so just seeing that leadership in him has been really, really great.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank you and your husband for being so welcoming and bringing to your home so many of our students who cannot go home for the breaks. And I know some of the students become like your child. Yeah. So they come back to visit you. Yeah. And make plans for the future, including you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's an honor to serve in that way.
That's amazing. So we really appreciate. So I would like to take the opportunity to answer to some of the questions that I see here. So I see somebody was asking about the Academy Prep program. Yes, we do have a program, an Academy Prep program. And your son is here, has to qualify to join the academy prep program that we have at Nmmi, I would highly recommend that you send an email to admissions@nmmi.edu so we can give you the details. I would say that our academy prep program is the best in the nation. As you heard, all the support that we have here to offer to your son or daughter. So NMMI is an incredible school. I also read here that there are some people asking about scholarships. So NMMI has over 180 scholarships that are available. So not every student is eligible for everything. There are criteria, and there are many opportunities. For New Mexico residents, you can come to NMMI for zero cost. You have to be eligible, have a 2.0 GPA minimum at the time of your acceptance, and maintain your GPA while you're here. Again, send us an email at admissions@nmmi.edu, and we will give you detailed information. So let's talk a little bit about our academics and our leadership development program here at NMMI. So, Bertha, as an academic counselor, how has NMMI helped your cadets to grow academically? You mentioned that your daughter was very strong academically and your son not so much. Once he arrived here, as you mentioned, he thought there would be enough time to do his homework, right? What
Mhm.
kind of support, academic support, is available here for him? Why don't you share?
So we have morning tutoring Monday through Friday with the exception of Wednesdays. It's from 7:15 to 8:10 every morning with the faculty. So faculty are actually either in their classroom or in their office available to tutor students any day of the week with the exception of Wednesdays. We also have a math lab open Tuesdays and Thursdays from first through seventh period. So if a student has a free period, there is a math instructor in the math lab on those Tuesdays and Thursdays available for the student to come and seek help. We also have a math lab in the evening, Sunday through Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m., where again, we have faculty that are actually there to help. And then we have a science lab Sunday through Thursday in the evening as well, 7 to 9, that offers the support for the students and its faculty. And then we have peer tutoring available every day, all day, even in the evenings. So we have our top cadets that offer the support to the students and will tutor any subject. We also have an online 24 hours. It's called tutor.com. So students can actually go in there and get immediate assistance in any subject, or they can schedule an appointment with a tutor in any subject. Most of our students use it for English because they can actually submit their paper and submit what the instructions for that essay or report is. And it takes 24 hours, but the tutor will actually send them notes on that so they can improve that and make sure it's not AI generated, and kind of all of that. So those are all the supports that have really helped. But the other thing that I noticed with my son in particular was the coach. The coaches, because they love having our students on the teams, they're very good at supporting our students and saying, hey, like, we need your grades up. What can we do as a team to help you? We want you to play. So the coaches are also really good support in encouraging that. We have some coaches that will tell the student, hey, your teacher reached out to me and your grade's low, so instead of practicing today, you're going to sit and do your homework, right? So those are all the supports academically that we have. And then as academic counselors, we have students every day in here tutoring. If they have a free period, they're struggling, we help them out. I know the international office, Leticia helps. We also refer students to there to help with academic support. So if a student is struggling, we will find him any kind of support. And that was what really helped my son, is knowing, one, that he had all the support, but also that his coach was supporting him, and the teachers. The teachers, they will bend backwards for those students, and they work really hard to ensure their success. Now, it doesn't mean that every student's going to get an A, but they will make sure to provide every resource to help that student succeed.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And as you spoke about the athletic programs, I would like to share that NMMI offered several athletic programs for the high school. We have baseball, basketball, cross country, football, golf, soccer, swimming, diving, tennis, track and field, volleyball. And we have been champions of some of these sports. So we've been doing really well. Also, for the junior college, we are Division I school. So we offer baseball, basketball, football, golf, cross country, and volleyball. We have several students from all over the United States and from other countries participating in this sports that we offer. So I believe that all of you, your student has been here for more than a semester, sometimes more than a year, and there's so many opportunities for leadership here. So, Crystal, can you talk about the leadership opportunities at NMMI, thinking about your cadet? So how has he grown as a leader since he enrolled at NMMI?
Hi, thank you. I think honestly, as far as like the technical words for certain groups, my husband is probably more well versed in that. But I do know that this past year, Liam has really grown in his desire to become a part of leadership, and he put in his application this year for leadership. There are many opportunities here on campus. Last summer, he went to a military camp here on campus that he absolutely loved. He plans on doing it again this summer. They've got the ropes course that you can get involved in. Jacob, do you have any other things that you would like to share as far as that goes?
You're muted.
I guess it's my turn to speak. So I'll say, kind of as a staff member at Nmmi, the vision and mission of Nmmi, if you put them together, is to develop excellent leaders of uncompromising character. And so sometimes we see leadership as their rank or their position in the Corps, and I think that's part of it. But really, truly, before they can lead, they have to learn how to follow, and they have to learn self-command and self-discipline. So I would say Nmmi is excellent in our leadership and character development program, where if you want to be the #1 ranked cadet, or if you're happy being a private, you will be challenged, you will grow, you're going to have to dig deep and realize, what do I value? What things are important to me? And once that leader, once that cadet understands what values are important to them, then they live out those values. And whenever they live out those values, they do those things with excellence. And so some people want to ascend up the rank and in their position, and some are satisfied with where they're at. And so we want to cater to all of the cadets, whereas if they want to grow, they have the opportunities, they have the leadership classes, they have, as Crystal said, ropes course, but there's different clubs, there's different opportunities for them to learn and grow. And for our son specifically, I think he was in a place where he had to learn about himself. He had to learn what things that he valued, and he wanted to focus on his grades and laying a strong foundation before he began to build on that. And so for our son, he's considered a sergeant and a squad leader. But as Crystal said, he went to the Marine Corps JROTC camp last semester or last summer. He plans on doing it again this summer. He's been doing the squad leadership classes and officer training classes. So at his time, when he was ready, he's rising up. And I think as a parent, it's important, of course, that we want to see our kids do well. We want to see them strive. We want to see them grow. But we also need to let them do it in their own time, in their own understanding. And that way they can be the best versions of themselves.
Thank you so much. So Bertha, you mentioned all the support that uh, cadets and families can find here at an MMI, from faculty to staff. And how um, do they support cadets in balancing academics, athletics, and leadership responsibility? They have a very packed day. How how is the support for the cadets to understand and learn time management?
Okay, so time management is actually taught by the Commandant staff and by the academic staff. So I know in our seminar classes for the academic counselors, freshman year, we go over time management and study habits. That's the thing we focus the most. We work on developing, learning how to use their planner because every new student gets a planner. So we kind of work on that. We also kind of work on not everybody uses, a planner like we did back in the day where you write everything. So we show them what a planner looks online. In the Commandant's off side, the TLAs and SLAs work with them as well on showing them, hey, like, here's your schedule. This is where we have time. So they go over that as well. Cadre, which is all of the peer leadership, they go over it and kind of talk to them and mentor the students to show them, like, this is where I struggle. This is what will help you. I know most of the faculty also cover that. We also have what we call night study hall at night. All new students are required to attend this night study hall, and it's to protect the students' time. It's from 7 to 9. During this time, the first couple of days, because students don't really have homework yet, the instructors actually go over time management as well, show them a calendar, go over the resources that they have on their Canvas, which is the program we use for the academics, so that they know where to find where the homework is and what dates they are, and they can write it down on their planner or when essays are done. So we have all of those things that we use to help support with the time management. I know the principal sometimes meets with them as well if a student continues to struggle, and he talks to them about time management and even his experience when he was here as a cadet with time management. So, we discuss it in classes. We talk to them when we're just having casual conversations, but they're also being mentored by their peers that have struggled with that as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
So, Bertha, while I have your attention, tell us what makes NMMI's academic approach different from other schools.
I would say the college prep part, because not only are students being challenged, because all of our courses are very rigorous since we are college prep, but they are preparing our students for college. They know, and from my experience with previous cadets that have graduated, they know what to expect when they leave an MMI and go to college. I get stories from my cadets that have graduated and say, ma'am, college is so much easier. I'm passing everything because I already have the time management down. I have the self-discipline. So all of those things, and they were all taught and they have the basics and foundations to be successful at any institution. I mean, we have students everywhere, from West Point to Ivy League schools to local schools, and all of our students do very well because they were taught those foundations, and not just in the academics, but the time management, the leadership, the discipline. All of that is what makes NMMI academics and core outstanding.
That's absolutely true. So, Bertha, tell us a little bit about the academic counselor. So, this year you are the counselor for high school sophomore.
Yes.
So next year they will have a different counselor. How does that work?
No, so our counseling staff keeps the same cohort. We begin with them as freshmen and we follow them through senior year. And the reason we do that is when we get to know our cadets really well, we get to know their strengths, their weaknesses, we can offer better support. And then when senior year comes, we are working with them so that by senior year we know what colleges they're applying. We can write really good recommendation letters, so and we create really good relationships with our cadets and bonds as well as with the parents, just because we have that continuous communication. And I think that's what makes us unique is We don't just, kind of deal with our students for one semester and then switch them off to somebody else. We maintain that same cohort until they graduate. And that means that if a student doesn't graduate, for example, I have my kids are supposed to graduate in 2027. If I have a student that started late and isn't able to graduate, he doesn't go to the new senior counselor. He stays with me. So that way, again, we continue to ensure his success or her success.
That's wonderful. And we do hear the cadets telling us if they need something, oh, I've already spoken to my counselor. So thank you so much. And I know all the passion and all the hard work that is put in what you all do. So for that, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I would like to invite you to post your questions on for our panel. So you can post your questions directly in the YouTube chat or on social media using hashtag AskNMMI or snap us at NMMI Life. So I see a question here from Facebook. Do most of the students go into the military or have to go into the military? That's a very good question. No, our students, about 14% of our Corps of Cadets move on into military careers. All of other students go anywhere they want to go. They have civilian careers and they are extremely successful. Many schools come to NMMI to recruit our students because they have excellent time management skills. They know when it's time to study and when it's time to relax. And they are very driven. They have goals and they go after them. So NMMI is an amazing school, as you can hear from the parents. So Chaplain, tell us, what does a typical day look like for your cadet here at NMMI?
The day is very demanding. There's no way around that. Typical day for my cadet and really every cadet would be up by 6 a.m., accountability formation by 6:15, breakfast from 6:30 to 7:30. Classes go from 8:15 to 3:30 with a 1-hour lunch break. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're going to be, if they're not in a sport for that season, they have physical training. Tuesday, Thursday, they have club. So physical training and club from 3:45 to about 5:30. Dinner from 5:30 to 6:30. And then as Bertha mentioned, night study hall directly after that from 7:30 to 9. If they're new recruits, they're going to have an assigned classroom with a monitor in there. If they're an old cadet, they can study at a place of their choosing. And as my wife said earlier, my son is at the point now where he goes into night study hall and he goes and sees either a peer tutor or they study with friends in the library. So 7:30 to 9 study time, 9 to 10 is hygiene, 10 o'clock back in his room. And if he still has more homework or studying, oftentimes he's 10 to 12 in his room finishing up his homework and then back at it the next day at 6 a.m. And so again, time management and sleep management are going to be best friends or worst friends, depending how you take care of it.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. So we have another question here. Will Brazilian parents that don't speak English have support too? Yes. Let me tell you a little secret. We have several Brazilians on our post, not only several cadets, but also several faculty, well, I would say faculty, but staff members at NMMI that are from Brazil, including me. Here at admissions, we do have somebody that will be able to speak Portuguese and assist you whenever you need support. So there are no worries. But thank you for your question. So Patricia, why don't you tell us, how does NMMI foster camaraderie and friendships among cadets? Tell us about Lucas. Where is he going now for the spring break?
Yes, it's not just about responsibilities. There are plenty of activities that promote fun and relax too. So my son has friends. We know we absolutely, that will be for the entire life. So it's very fun doing extracurricular activities like clubs, painting, music, and sports. Lucas today will be at a friend and spring break, and we are secure, absolutely secure about that. So it's very, very great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Chaplain, why don't you tell us what resources are available for cadets' physical and mental well-being?
Thank you for asking. And first and foremost, I'm going to say all of our staff members, all of our faculty, admissions, everyone from the very top to the very bottom, we love the cadets. We love parents. If you're thinking about sending your kids here, just know that they'll be loved. And so I say that to say we have the infrastructure in place for your child to be successful. As Ms. Stark said earlier, we have multiple sports in both high school and college. As far as some of the physical things that we have for them, we have ropes course, we have paintball, they have the Godfrey Athletic Center, they have a gym, they can go swimming, they can work out, they can play basketball, they can play tennis, they can play racquetball. I often see cadets playing rugby. So there's lots of opportunities as far as the just being physically fit, but also working off some of that energy and finding joy in those things. As far as some of the mental and emotional support that you have here, as I mentioned earlier, we have a counseling team. We have two licensed counselors that can do clinical stuff. We have life coaches here. And the way that looks, everything from time management, from anger management, from loneliness, depression, anxiety, missing their family, or maybe they got family issues. Maybe they had a breakup. Maybe they just lost a family member. Maybe they failed a class and it just seems so detrimental. So we have the support staff to help with that. Another thing is we have Timely Care. Timely Care is a resource that Nmmi subscribes to, that if there's a crisis, the cadets can call. They can also do scheduled counseling. There's health coaching, there's life coaching, there's content that they can go through for time management, sleep management. And so the resources are there for your child. I know for me, faith is important to our family. And so one of the things that we were looking at for our personal kid is we did not want him to succeed in athletics. We didn't want him to succeed in the classroom, but fail and walk away from his faith. And so the different chapel services that Nmmi has to offer, for us personally, it was one of the deciding factors. And so parents, if you're wondering about that, just know we have a non-denominational Christian service Sunday at 9 a.m. We have Catholic Mass Sunday at 5 p.m. We have what's called the Christian Cadet Fellowship on Wednesday nights. We eat dinner together as a community at 5:15. Then we start our service around 5:45. We do monthly events. We've gone to the lake. We have swim parties. We had a pumpkin carving party. We had movie nights. So there's different things that we do. So it's important to know that in addition to the academics and all of the great stuff, is we have community. We want them to be mentally fit, emotionally fit, physically fit, spiritually fit. We do understand we have a diverse community here at Nmmi. As I mentioned, cadets from 40 different states, 30 different nations. So we understand there's also different religious needs. Part of my job here is if there's cadets that need religious exemptions as far as according to their traditional beliefs in their religion, they can't shave. I help them with that. If they have dietary restrictions, I help them with that. We have some cadets right now observing Ramadan, and so we make accommodations for that. Additionally, if there's cadets that there's a house of faith in town locally that better serves a student, I help accommodate transportation. So just know that we do provide spiritual counsel, spiritual, Catholic service, non-denominational Christian service on campus, but also for cadets that have a different house of faith, that they're loved here, that they're welcomed here, and we're going to help them follow their faith as good as they can as well.
Thank you so much, Chaplain Graham, for this very detailed information. I think we just had a question here in regards to religion, so you've covered it all. Thank you so much. Now, Crystal, let me ask you a question. We have several parents from Roswell that sometimes are concerned about sending their child to an MMI, especially because they fear that they will not be able to see their child as much as they want to, or when can your child go home? What about weekends? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. They have lots of opportunities to come home after they get through that initial recruit training phase. There are opportunities for them to come home as long as they don't have things like academic weekend or something going on. The students are able to leave on permits. They're also able to come home and stay the weekend. We actually see Liam a lot more than what I was expecting to see him. Additionally, we get to see him for a really long Christmas break, which I absolutely loved. He's home for well over a month. We'll get to see him at spring break, at summer times. And so even though we don't see him a lot during the week, we do get to see him pretty frequently. And the times that we get to have with them and just being local, of course, I stop in and see him occasionally when he has a little bit of free time. But I think that really the opportunities are so great. And I know that even though I don't see him every moment, every day, we're very busy as a family as well. And so I'm not sure that we would see him a whole lot more if he was home with us, just because we lead busy lives. And I'd say if you're worried about not being able to see your child, just make an effort to communicate with them via text. We FaceTime, we call, we text each other, and Liam is really good about, responding to me. We don't always get to talk at night. That's not something that always happens, but the times that we do get to see him are really incredible. And I would say as a local parent, I feel far more fortunate because I get to see him far more frequently than our parents who are in Brazil or who are in China, who are in different parts of the world. I think you're muted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My turn now to be muted, right? So Bertha, why don't you tell us how are discipline and accountability handled at Nmmi, and what impact has it had on your cadets' personal growth?
So the accountability and discipline for academic accountability, every instructor takes attendance. And one of the things that I like is at noon, all of the counselors or our office receives a notification of any student that was absent first through fourth period. And then we can notify the parents, but then we also talk to the students. The other type of accountability is if a student misses classes, if they misbehave or something happens, they're given what is called demerits, which is like a stick. So 1 point for depending on what they do, right? For every 5 demerits they get a tour. And what a tour does is they have to actually, 1 tour is equal to 1 hour of marching on the weekends. So students can either march them, we'll have to march them Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. If they have too many tours, then that actually just can disqualify them from leadership positions. It can put them in probation. It can also affect whether or not they get to go home. That's one of the biggest things that I know for my personal kids, they do not like to have, because the moment that they're able to go home, they want to go home. So they don't want to stay here on the weekends a little extra to march those tours. So that's kind of the accountability. We see that all the time. The other accountability that I like, as Crystal mentioned, is every week as parents, we get those weekly reports. So, we can see if our students aren't behaving in the classroom. And for me, that's wonderful because, even though I have access to my son's information, like I don't always get to see the teacher's notes, or I don't always get to talk to him. So on those weekly reports, I'll get, your son was on the phone kind of thing. So then I can take away the phone if I need to. So we have all of those kinds of things to kind of track our students and hold them accountable for their actions.
Thank you very much. And I know very well that you're also the parents' eyes and ears here at NMMI, right? While they're here.
Yes.
Yes. So, Patricia, how has NMMI prepared your cadet for college or a future career?
My cadet has developed a strong leadership mindset. He's now more mature, responsible, and aware for his future. He now speaks confidently about his decisions, and NMI has helped him to see his career path more clearly and confident. It has given him a better understanding of his options and helped him develop as a leader.
Thank you very much. So, Bertha, back to you. What do you think is the greatest benefit of choosing NMMI over a traditional high school or junior college?
For me personally, it has been the academics in the small classroom. The reason my daughter came was she actually, as an eighth grader, was able to go to one of the public high schools because she was advanced in a math class, and she did not like that. And so she didn't like being in a classroom with 20 plus kids. So for us, what made NMMI so unique is that our classroom sizes, or the classroom sizes here, are less than 18 students. So the teachers actually get to know my daughter's name. They get to know her in a personal level. She gets, they recommend her for all of these different clubs. She does STEM club. Anytime she needs a recommendation letter, she can go to them. They invite her to participate in different activities. And the same for my son. So what makes it stand out is not only does NMMI have the support for all of our students to be successful, but every staff and faculty on this campus, like Chaplain said, loves our kids. They will bend backwards to help. They become the eyes of the parents. They become, I joke around with my husband and I tell him sometimes I feel like I'm the best friend, the mom, the dad, the disciplinary. We're everything, which is what also makes it great is all of our students know that there's that one, if not more, adults that they can come to if they ever need any kind of support. And that's what makes us stand out.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, Patricia, let me go back to you. If you could go back and make the decision again, would you still send your child to NMMI? And tell us why.
Yes, absolutely. I feel at peace knowing that my cadet is now fully capable of following his own path without depending on his parents, depending on me, of course. He has become an independent and happy person at NMI, which is exactly what we hoped for. Thank you, Cristina.
Well, thank you for trusting in us. Crystal, what about you? If you could go back and make a decision again, would you still send Liam to NMMI, and why?
I would definitely send him. Like Patricia said, the leadership and the maturity and the way in which Liam has grown, and not just academically, but he has learned how to look out for himself. He's learned skills that he would not necessarily learn at home. We were very involved parents. I also was not a helicopter parent. So Liam had to have a lot of responsibilities at home, but the responsibilities that he has at Nmmi are different. And there isn't a mom there that's going to take care of things if he doesn't take care of them himself. And so he's really learning how to be an adult, how to be successful, so that when he is on his own, he's going to have all the tools and the skills necessary to be able to do that with ease.
Thank you so much. Well, I would like to thank our wonderful panelists for your time and your insights. I appreciate you sharing yours and your cadets' journey with the audience. At NMMI, education transcends traditional academics. NMMI offers a transformative experience and molds cadets into leaders. Our comprehensive program instills a deep sense of responsibility and equips cadets with the skills and mindset necessary for lasting success. Reach out to our admissions team if you have questions that we haven't answered, or if you need additional information. Please use our admissions@nmmi.edu email or schedule a visit. You can do that by going to our website, www.nmmi.edu, and click on admissions and visit NMMI. Then schedule your visit. So just a quick reminder, we'll have an open house April 12th, beginning at 8 o'clock with our registrations. It will be a morning filled with opportunities to visit our post and ask all the questions you might have. For more information about NMMI, please visit our website, www.nmmi.edu. We are now accepting applications for fall, so please reach out to us. Tonight's broadcast has been recorded, so feel free to watch it back or share with any other family that might be interested in sending their child to NMMI. Thank you for joining us tonight. And remember to follow NMMI on social media for more updates and events. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.